specifically in summer, I really cannot give this guy enough praise for how important he was to the way that KT controlled a lot of the early games. See it as well with LNG choosing to ban that Viego and him still having a big impact on his... Okay, well, so we're first picking Kai'Sa, right? But that's what we're looking at, and that's what I would imagine as well.
Yeah, unless he really wants to play Tristana into it or something, but yeah, it's got to be.
For aiming, yeah. Can't imagine that they want to go in that direction. Or do they do the same thing that LNG did and try to force a trade here and maybe get BDD his Azir,
okay.
and yep, they're leaving it up.
All right, the Kai'Sa or the Azir?
It's got to be Kai'Sa, right?
Yeah,
you can still go Orianna if you want,
it's
as we
Gala
said before.
as well.
I mean, Scout can even go for the Taliyah, which we've already seen work
into BDD Azir? Oh, man.
Yeah. You can see both sides of the coin, both sides of the matchup.
BDD knows both of those champions so well. Honestly, too, I was going to bring this up, but for this whole tournament, you know, people have been ragging on the Ezreal and the Taliyah alike, and mainly the mid lane Taliyahs, but BDD definitely built different on that champ, also on the Azir. So this is actually a really prime spot for him.
Early Alistar possibly here from KT. Gala with 5 pentakills on Kai'Sa, one of those at MSI last year. There's the Alistar locked in for aiming and Lehends in the bottom lane, well, specifically for Lehends, but that does give up Prio in that bottom lane. You can pick Nautilus here if you're LNG, just look for early aggression, and then obviously the point and click from the Nautilus works well later on. Instead, Rakan possibly for Hung.
They could do a Rakan Rel combo.
Yeah.
Tarzan was a really good Rel throughout this season in LPL, and it just brings so much setup and engage to your team fights.
Also, the Rakan obviously not going to have the same laning pressure that Nautilus will. We saw in the last game how big the Lehends Nautilus was, how much of an impact he was able to have, getting some of those early picks. But the team fight scaling is absolutely incredible. And I like the read from LNG. I think that your goal should always be how do we get to team fights in the safest way possible. And Rakan definitely is a pick that can help you get there. And the Renekton here is really interesting to me because it feels like Zika hasn't really been targeted at all thus far by KT and the way they play around the top laner's champion pool, but maybe they want to try and ban away some of the Renekton counters and put Keen in an awkward position here.
Yeah, Zika just want to switch over to the other side of the matchup this time around. I mean, top laners weren't a real big deal in the game previously, so wants the easier execution early on.
The Aphelios for aiming. Something we've seen him on a few times this year, but not one of his most played champions. I mean, 5th most played, still very comfortable on it, obviously. Just going to be very interested to see how well he is able to survive the later game team fights, because there is already that Rakan who can jump on him. You've got Renekton as well, who can flash Ruthless Predator you, and I doubt we'll see LNG give up on their dive potential with just those 3 picks.
And he does have like Azir peel for him, Alistar peel for him. And Aphelios is one of those AD carries that when a lot of melee champs are coming in close range, and even if a Kai'Sa is coming in close range, if aiming is good at managing his guns, then definitely one that can turn into a blender.
Also think that the Alistar in that regard does really help. Yeah. Alistar really good at providing space for your carries. Azir, again, BDD has basically made a career out of this. Let's not forget he used to play with Ruler against Scout. Mind you, in 2021 Worlds, where that was basically BDD's role was go pigeon, and good luck with that one.
Just check who won 2021 Worlds.
It was Scout
and
yeah,
ADG.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you would remind me of that, but yeah.
BDD came out on the wrong side of that one.
No particular reason.
it was a great 5-game series.
It was an amazing series.
It was enjoyable, even though, you know, the Oscar didn't win, and I was a little bit sad. We're going to gloss over that as the Vi gets locked in. Do think that the Vi has been a pick that, even though, you know, 5 wins, 10 losses, doesn't look great. In particular, when you are synced up as a team, Vi provides very little counterplay for the opponents, and with no Nautilus this time around, KT do really like these type of snap engages. This time it's going to be down to Cuz.
And it's a really nice little denial too, if they were thinking about going for a Vi Ahri combination or something like that, but LNG will make the switch over to the Rakan for Tarzan and pick up that trade, or Wukong, excuse me.
obviously you can see already LNG looking for that wombo in team fights, right? They have the Wukong Cyclone, you've got Rakan quickness, Orianna as well would back that up perfectly, and if they can get to team fights, that is where LNG so often shine, not only here at Worlds, but also in the LPL and in their finals versus JDG. And the Orianna, I think, rounds this composition out well. LNG will lock it in. Where do KT go with their top lane pick into this Renekton?
Little Cassante action, huh? What are we feeling up here? Oh, some Keen specialty?
So this the best game that Keen played all split was on this, but the main issue and why I think it won't get locked in is the entirety of the team needs to play around it. So it's guys, it's just Lance. Don't never trust that man. And this is KT saying, we are going toe-to-toe with you. Yep. We are going for team fighting. The Vi is the only factor here that, you know, provides a little bit of mid-game. But we are all in. I do think that the Ornn into Renekton matchup specifically actually is great. Ornn does a really good job in that one, can absorb the pressure and is able to farm up grass stacks, kind of go from there. But meeting LNG in the place where they're most comfortable, even though when you look at the comps, I would give the edge in front to back 2 KT, that's still a very risky move.
And a huge time to do it as well. This is a promotion game, a qualification game to the quarterfinals. And not only do you manage to make it into our top 8, you also avoid playing against Genji or JDG in those quarterfinals. Our two teams already qualified with the 3-0 record. The loser of this series goes down to 2-2 and we'll play another best of 3, I believe, in 2 days' time. Is that Sunday? I think that's Sunday. To see if they can then finally qualify for the quarterfinals at a 3-2 record. KT and LNG ready to take the rift for the 3rd time today. We've had 2 bangers of games. One, LNG favored when we got to the team fights. One, KT favored because they were able to separate LNG into multiple different skirmishes rather than having one full team fight. Here, both compositions, both teams have opted in to facing each other in a full 5v5.
Ooh, and they have opted into BDD Azir with some scaling Ornn items on their side as well. Let's get onto the Rift for the decisive game.
Soul supports KT. Scouts on the other side of the Rift are looking to make a few people, a lot of people in this arena a little bit sad as they work their way home on this Friday night.
I saw a couple signs in there that were saying Scout come LCK. So maybe they start those endeavors.
The hand's going to get knocked up. The Glacial Augment slowing him down, has to flash away. Does still have the Hex Flash Ignite used by Hung, but that's the trade of summoners you'll take every day of the week for LNG.
And in this series against T1, particularly in the lower bracket finals, this was how a lot of the KT games started. It's not like Alistair isn't already a cannon minion, or not even a cannon, a caster minion at level 1. This is going to make it tough. The one saving grace is that he's playing into a Rakan, not something like the Renata like we saw in game number 1. But still, really nicely done by LNG to throw off Lahens, because I think that Lahens and Cuz really are the 1-2 that makes this KT, when they are playing forward, work the way that they do.
All right, let's take a look at the early levels on pushing here as trying to get out the minion wave. And just a couple of extra autos here.
I mean, BDD's looking for a lot of extra autos. He's running Halo Blades as it. Looking for that extra pressure in the mid lane. Hung and Gala able to pull the wave early here. Makes it very difficult for aiming to step up to farm the minions. One minion died, I believe, before aiming and the Hens got into the lane, so they will be one minion delayed on their level 2. I mean, it was already going to be delayed because Hung and Gala got control of the lane early on.
Yeah, a lot of these Azir players have started to really love the Hail of Blade start for that extra laning power and not having to give up so much push.
Yeah, I've also seen, like, particularly because BDD has been playing Azir for, like, I don't know, a completely unreasonable amount. I've seen him go basically every single Keystone, and I think that that's one of the beauties of the champion. It's also why watching Scout play it in the first 2 matches that he played in this tournament and also in the last game. There is so much skill expression on the champion, so many different ways you can go about it, as I knew it'd been going too smoothly.
Scout getting the Instagram open. Tactical pause. Bring it out. Obviously, we'll tell you guys exactly what's happening as soon as we know. And, a short pause here to kick us off.
Some Gala fans. You know, he is on Kai'Sa. That's generally a great place to be if you're a Gala fan.
That brings me back to MSI. Big Gala plays, diving in.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of synonymous with Kai'Sa, really, isn't it?
2 years in
as
a row.
Player, as a champion, consistently impresses on it. You see the referee just talking.
So the last things I remember seeing just off the mini map was Vi coming down just to check bottom side for BDD for the Azir here to make sure there's no shenanigans, no early level 3 kind of peak, but.
Tournament officials are currently investigating the issue with the pause, so we'll get that information out to you all as soon as we can. What a day or what a weekend of League of Legends we have lined up after this as well. Obviously, KT LNG has been a banger of a series. Tomorrow, NRG G2.
Oh, man.
I'm really looking forward to that one. It's going to be fun.
Very, very nervous for that one.
Looks like aiming having some issues here. We'll see when we know. We'll let you guys know.
Obviously, yeah. Are you excited for NRG G2?
Yeah, actually I am.
Yeah?
Yeah,
It's a good one, right?
I mean, I personally really enjoy League of Legends where I have no emotional stake because I get very over-invested. So it makes watching, the teams that I care about.
You can actually watch it and enjoy it rather than just being heart rate 180.
Yeah.
I know the NRG players have a tremendous amount of respect for the G2 players for sure. Not only because, they perform very well in scrims against them, but also because they really respect the work ethic and the attitude. There's a specific video call out for one of the social videos that G2 put out with their team, with Caps really talking about the mentality of the grind coming into Worlds and putting everything into your year from the very beginning, taking solo queue seriously, taking champions queue seriously, taking scrims seriously, and all of these layers that lead up to this point to be able to have some real hope at this tournament, at the pinnacle of play. And so I'm very excited to see that matchup simply because there is so much respect.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And then after that, obviously, T1 BLG. So that, tomorrow is a day of bangers.
That's got to be a banger. There's some superstar power. I will watch Bin in any game ever. Yeah. Always delivers.
The one thing that is still missing for me is that at MSI, Bin's interviews, every single one was straight fire.
Sure.
And I feel like you could argue that he's been even more standout thus far this tournament. And then he's kind of chilled.
He's also focused on gameplay. He's like,
we need to. Because at MSI as well.
He's like, we need to beat JDG in a series one time.
I think that's the thing,
Just
right?
one time.
When you've lost that many times to JDG and they're kind of champions elect, you kind of, or at least finalists select, I guess is a better way to put it. You kind of know that you have to buck up your game a little bit if you're going to take them down. I'm looking forward to the Ruddy Esports interview with Bin. Do you watch much Ruddy Esports? Great little interview.
I actually heard because I talked to the translator, Hannah, who was translating one of his interviews for him with the Shy. But they didn't actually get to release the interview. But the question was about the Shy had recently given to charity. Okay. And his question is crafty. He's like, "Oh, I see. You're a very, very charitable person. You love getting into charities here. Is that why you always give charitable kills over to your opponents?" And she had to translate it to the Shy. And at first he didn't understand. He was like, "Oh yeah, I give kills over to my teammates. I don't last hit them." And she was like, "No, he's talking about your opponents there."
That must be the hardest job, translating an interview.
Yeah, trying to do comedic interviews through translations has got to be difficult. But we're back onto the Rift. Don't know what went wrong, and honestly, as long as it's fixed, don't care.
Double call started in the bottom lane means both these AD carries just likely to farm themselves up. Slight lead for Gala as Scout gets chunked out in the mid lane by BDD.
All right, so it looks like what the calls were from the mid laners were just for wards here. So they've got wards on both sides of mid lane for BDD to try and keep him safe.
Just to keep everyone informed, League officials allowed aiming to restart his client because there was a minor performance issue. Everything's rectified as far as we know now, so that is why we are back into the game.
Good to know. Now, I don't expect that there will be a lot of action in this game for the foreseeable future. I do think that LNG, even though they have a composition that can fight until the very end, to me, feels a little bit more mid-game because they lack a traditional front line, right? I think their engage and dive potential is absolutely incredible. Already talked about the wombo combo, but particularly when we get to like really late game, that's where I think they might somewhat struggle, even though I don't think it's KT's wheelhouse necessarily. They have been pretty consistent in being able to team fight with some of the best teams in the LCK. And we'll see what LNG's read is as well, because the one thing that they have been consistent in, I think, for the entirety of these series is making sure that you keep a good grasp of the game while also not opening yourself up to unnecessary risks as Sika goes in.
Yeah, especially it's going to be up to Tarzan and Hang to be able to find ways around that front line. You don't want to have to melt through an Ornn in a DPS check, an Ornn and an Alistar. You want to go behind and put that pressure onto the enemy carries so they don't have the freedom of a full DPS check.
VOD coming out on the winning side of a lot of these mid trades. He has gone for the amp tome first, where Scout decided he wants to start stacking that up early on. So, and obviously slight range advantage for the Azir if you can get your soldiers far enough up in the lane. The command attack ball does allow Scout to try and even that out just a little bit.
Constantly see him proccing his Hail of Blades, trying to use as many of the autos onto the enemy champion as possible, but even if not, then you can just turn on the minion wave. And then the buff that they did a long time ago to shorten that reset timer, but we're going to have a bottom side play. Here we go.
Yeah, Gala and Hung think they've backed because it's a cannon wave, and that's exactly when KT would go back. Hung locked up. Looking for the Q, knock up here, flash Q, great play there by Lahens. Hung's ticking down, and the E from Kuz finds the kill. The bolt broken open in the bottom lane, and goal pours out for KT.
And if they're a split second later, Tarzan is there to punish, maybe look for an exit kill or two, but instead, it's an early kill again, going over to Kuz.
Perfectly set up there by the KT bottom lane, aiming purple gun to start it out. Lahens headbutts him away so the Hang can't get in range for the E for Gala, then he has to flash for it, but guess who's waiting for him with open arms? It's Lahens. Really, really good use of the bottom lane CC there to feed their jungler a kill.
Have another look at it, because once again it's Denting Blow's kill. Aiming with the Graviton, they know exactly who they're targeting from the get-go here.
And then Lahens comes over, flashes to make sure, open arms, gets them both with the knock-up, and the Ignite already down. Kuz being able to get his E splash damage off the auto attack on the AD carry there to splash through, kill the Rakan.
And it's perfectly done as well, because
such a story told through these reactions. I love these reaction cams here, because the eyes tell everything.
A great play from Lahens as well. If Hung gets to Gala in time, he can W away. Just use that grand entrance to make a bit of an exit. The shockwave now invested by Scout to force BDD out. Tarzan was waiting in the wings but can't find the engage. BDD holding onto his flash.
Yeah, I think Tarzan actually wasn't 6 just yet there, but he dinged it off of the wave, the ambient XP. Will not be going for the red buff here, and yeah, KT definitely still has the back, so I think it's still a successful play for LNG as they get to use their topside prio. Zika gets to set up a little bit of vision. They have the invade. BDD didn't actually go back though and might be at risk here. Lahens will get spotted by that ward.
Hook forward by Hung. As Lahens, as you say, spotted. I think Hung perhaps would have aggressively hex flashed if he hadn't seen the Alistar just around the corner. Kuz starting up the Dragon now. VOD will just continue to gain mid priority. You can see Gala moving first, aiming, having to push out the wave. Now Hung dives into the pit, and Kuz respects the fact that the reaction from LNG was coming.
Yeah, Vi with the W is able to pretty easily take dragons early on, but I like the response as well from Hung, knowing that Lahens is towards the mid lane. Do note, Tarzan is level 6, but just a little bit too late.
And it's good from KT, because they guarantee their mid push. They guarantee BDD priority with Lahens positioning there, right in lane, standing with them. So, well, Rakan comes over to say, hello, I found you doing Dragon. There's not much he can do about it with the mid lane priority there.
A paltry matter there for Kuz to ignore the Rakan.
That one, I think, is better than the name puns.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you
give me a feather in my cap for that one.
On that one. You're up from a 2 from the previous rating.
And the rating is out of 5, right? 5 stars?
Oh, of course. Yeah, for sure.
Cuz here, shadowing the mid lane. Tarzan on his way across as well, but Cuz should just be able to back away. And although we had a slight flurry of action, I think Chronicler's prediction earlier on will once again come true, which is not too much going to happen for a little while here.
It's not that adventurous of a call to make, given these two team comps. As Cuz? Proving me wrong?
Cuz?
No, he will not. Tarzan will get spotted here. We do have Scout already on the play, and also, again, KT do not need to go for these type of fights. Now, I do know from experience, BDD considers Azir to just be an anything champion, not late game. You know, the amount of early fights that I've seen him take throughout his career, definitely numerous, but I'm not going to do it here, and I do think that's the right call, particularly with Zika being so much stronger at this point in the game.
Yeah, you don't want to fight that as KT, so Tarzan picks it up. Extra little gold boost here. The trade of objectives eventually, and Wukong gets to keep on farming. Both these junglers, though, could make some looks now. It doesn't have to be pure farming at the moment, especially because Lehens is on a support roam timer, and currently he's heading out through mid lane. Both these teams have been pretty good about keeping up their mid lane vision, though, and just look at the river right now. Double side ward here for Scout on the Orianna. So even with the roam timer here, KT, they'll just push out the mid once again and look to clear out all that vision.
And LNG are doing a really good job of kind of counteracting what we in the LCK like to call the Victor versus Azir conundrum, where if you play an immobile scaling mage into the Azir specifically, you need to find a way to make sure that he doesn't just shuffle you on cooldown, right? Because the first time you might live, but then you have to flash, and then every subsequent time you go down. So LNG's efforts to make sure that Scout just gets to play out this laning phase very cleanly and scale into the big team fight carry, definitely something that I think KT otherwise would have liked to punish, but now they don't really get the opportunity. They get to clear out some of the vision, sure, but it doesn't actually net them any kills.
And later on, these two champions scale in such different ways. Orianna scales super, super well also, but it's much more enabling all the other threats on the team. Yes, she has her own damage, and everyone's going to shout for the big shockwaves, but that shield and the extra speed ups really help out the engagers. Tarzan and Hang as well will be happy to be the recipients of that. Zika as well sometimes can really turn that Renekton into a much more formidable team fighter, whereas usually it's like, oh, well, if you have flash, then you can do something. Yeah. If not,
I think that's what distinguishes the good Renektons from the great Renektons, right? Like, do you have flash? Can you make an impact? We see both the supports just playing off tempo. It's very common around level 6 that you start to see supports do exactly what Lehens and Hung have done over the last couple of minutes, which is push through mid, get prio, join up with your jungler, go into the enemy jungle, place a couple of wards, and then the enemy support resets, pushes through their own jungle, clears out as many wards as they can as Gala falls low, the root coming out, the Moonlight Vigil, Gala has the heal, manages to escape, cease and desist, they want to stop Gala! And once again, excessive force used by Cuz to take the kill.
Once again, immaculate play from the bottom lane. Wait, they're not done. We see Tarzan coming down through the river, but BDD tracks him. BDD chases him down, so they should be able to get out. But once again, KT bottom lane setting up kills for their jungler. Beautiful play there from aiming. Burns the heal from Kaisa, and then Cuz goes right under the tower, flash through with the ultimate. Gala doesn't blow much.
It's also, again, Cuz being just... Oh, he should be fine here, even with the turret damage, given that he still has flash and his dominus. But I want to highlight again, Cuz's timings have been so impressive in this series, because even if Tarzan is making a read on the play, he's just not there in time. Keen is low, though. Herald's going to be placed down here. Should be looking to maybe go for a teleport. Cuz is going to try and cover. Keen does have his ultimate available.
It feels like this is more to make sure that you don't take the entire time, right? Like, Keen could be doved. In fact, they're going to try and turn it around, but even with the knockup, they don't put any more damage onto Zika. They make sure he doesn't get the Demolish proc, which would have given him another plate, so deny a little bit of gold from LNG. Yeah,
I think if they have vision there, or they know for a fact where Tarzan is, you can try and go for the, you know, even without the Vi ultimate for the burst, with between PTA and Ornn and his Brittle procs, you might be able to kill the Renekton, but if you try to flip that,
they're going to fight it.
That's
why they're saving the Call of the Forge God as well. Keen now in a good position to flank Emperor's Divide onto Scout, the knock up against the wall, and everything's coming up KT. Scout tries to get away, but the Ram rams him into an early grave. Zika joins the Braven in a 2v1. He's trying to fight against BDD, the slice, the dice, the dominus, not enough. Zika can't find his man. Tarzan flashes through it, but even he can't get onto BDD as KT disengaged perfectly.
Whoa, BDD is a magician. He lives. Absolute masterclass there. They get the kill. They use the combo. Azir creates the wall or knocks him up into it. But by the Dragon Pit, by the Dragon Pit, Cuz just went down to the LNG members. So now there's no smite for KT and it gets awkward.
At the same time, though, the health bars are favorable. KT or BDD gets a fresh cheapie in, so it looks like at the very least they will deny LNG to pick this up. And I think with the tempo, it's KT that's going to be able to pick up the second Drake here.
Okay, so this is a beautiful combo, creating the wall, knocking him up, but I really am going to look at
it's the Cyclone.
Cuz down here, yeah.
Yeah, just misses a Q and then gets
jumped on. Yeah. Beautiful knockup from Hung to keep him. DPS comes from Tarzan, and they get the kill over there, but wow. The escape. Tarzan also trying to flash to finish BDD, but doesn't quite have the range. Your Q extends your auto attack a little bit, but just on
Tarzan steals away the Drake, and now the fight begins as Kuz is low. The quickness coming out of Gala diving in. Kuz already down to 200 HP. The season assist does get the knockup, but already Kuz has fallen. BDD now chased out, and no escape for him this time. LNG have just flipped this game on its head.
Tactical replay there. Come out of it, and LNG just sweep them, steal the objective, grab the kills. They also have the free farm Orianna coming down after pushing top wave, so extra wave pushed in by LNG towards top side. That means they've got the extra pressure on the map in addition to killing off the extra champions here. What a sweep. We didn't even get to see the setup, but Tarzan comes in, steals the show.
And in the initial play, KT, even though they invest everything, are able to trade 1-for-1 and set themselves up for the tempo towards that dragon. But I do think that they are much more cooldown reliant this early on in the game because their champions don't have as much inherent power. So I love the call from LNG to not let them rest. And LNG, you know, they might be a team that has a reputation for biding their time, but this
46.
is such an incredible, I think, read. Also, there is no one else there for KT, right? Yeah. Everyone that can get there is already there, and KT clearly didn't expect this contest.
I think KT were also relying on their aiming and Lehens to get back to challenge top tower because Scout was already pushing that in. They'd burnt their teleports, so they didn't have a way of immediately answering. So they kind of skipped a step. They said, okay, we've definitely got this dragon. It's fine. We'll just back to make sure we can answer top. And it bit them in the proverbial behind.
Yeah, there was a controller in the back of the pit, so they were like, let's just burn it down as quick as possible before they get here. And they did not have the check. All right, LNG very happy after that one, though. Start up the Rift Herald themselves. Looks like no teleport for Keen, so gonna give that one up. The Crocodile could show up, the Ornn could not. Probably don't want to fight it anyways.
Yeah.
And this is really big because LNG, I don't think they're on quite the same clock as we saw in the previous game, but I do think that eventually KT have a composition that is so straightforward. The Ornn value is going to be pivotal, so getting a dragon, getting first turret blood, and accelerating the pace of the game and not even having to use your Herald that you just picked up, if you can throw that down mid and take away this point of safety for KT, you can really deny them the ability to ever get to the point of the game where I think that specifically the Aphelios, Ornn, and Azir combo starts to naturally take over.
And the LNG, I think you're definitely right with they're not on as much as a timer as last time.
It's not nearly as...
They have a lot of damage and they have a lot of waves to also scale here, so...
Yeah, it's more about the ease of execution.
Yeah.
I think getting because they don't have a traditional front line,
no
right?
Alistar, no Ornn for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, like Wukong and Orianna and Kai'Sa will still be fine in the late game.
Yeah. Especially if you can find a multi-pronged approach, right? You have Rakan coming from one direction, you have Wukong from another, then you have Renekton managing to get onto the back line. I think I do agree with 100%. I do agree with you as well, though, Chronicler. I think if KT can just play a front-to-back, they do have the tools to do so, but the Shockwave lands still on Keen as the flash is invested, and Keen will pay for his hubris of pushing out the lane with his life.
And the big thing there is that you saw initially KT wanted to respond, but Gala and Hung also both heading towards that bot side. Gala already has level 2 killer instinct, so no counterplay available for KT. They're going to try and go for this mid lane turret here.
Does Gala respect it?
TP.
He does. TP behind now as LNG look to up the tempo of the game. The Dominus popped as aiming is going to meet the base of Zika here. Lahen's trying to do everything he can to disengage for his AD carry. Flash, Ruthless Predator, the cleanse away by aiming. Lahen's already down, aiming with the Severum. Doesn't even tickle Zika, those scales, stopping him from taking too much damage as BDD slides the wall. Cuz does a good job of body blocking his bot laner. Keen now TPing in mid. The Rift Herald still charging up that bottom lane, and LNG continue to advance. The charge away from Keen stopped unstoppable, but not for much longer as LNG advance.
Gray screen into teleport into gray screen, another one for Keen. He got picked on bottom side. Rift Herald almost finishes it. Can Zika get there for the local gold as well? That's even better for them. Oh wow, we go back to part one. Okay, so this was the first kill. Keen goes down, then he's gonna teleport right back out. They tower dive him and pick up number 2. We saw that one though. All right, here's the double flank afterwards with no Ornn on the map. And Zika just runs straight at aiming, so he's able to get the cleanse out really early on. He does flash onto aiming for it, so it's a summoner spell trade, and they're able to peel the crocodile, but and we just get another one. Sitting duck here. The rest of the team is scattered, trying to run away from the onslaught. And it's going to mean double turrets pushed in the aftermath for LNG and a dragon to boot. So that's 3 objectives picked up. And wait a second. Are they going to get here in time? KT are looking to fight.
Trying.
They've got Ornn ultimate.
Scout doesn't have TP. He's on his way, though. I don't think there's a large window here for KT. They're going to try and contest.
Even the smallest window can be used to defenestrate your opposition. Zika here on the front line. Cuz trying to get in behind. Not too much vision control for KT, but they have wrangled control of the river. LNG pushing through mid. A Baron on the cards, perhaps. They will melt through it pretty quickly, and LNG are calling KT to the fight. A Barney in the river, as KT will start the dragon, but LNG have eyes on a much larger prize. The Baron already down to 7,000 HP, and once again LNG have played ring around the rosies. KT trying to get in here. The call of the Forge God will be brought down, but those prayers unanswered for KT as LNG steal away the big purple worm. The engage now following. KT, Shockwave will shock them all and silence the crowd here in Seoul. Lahen sacrifices himself, but it's just not enough for KT. BDD tries to escape, but Gala will not have it. LNG sweep away KT.
Oh, that Rage Blade Kaisa you love so much, Chronicler. They've got that DPS for the Baron. They burn it down, and with the Shockwave from Scout, they chase them all down.
And this is a throwback for me to game number 1, where KT just aren't ready for the LNG call, right? They're like, hey, this is a second Drake.
Yep.
This doesn't matter nearly enough. They're not able to make it in. You see Cuz, he's thinking about going in, but they're so far behind at this point already that they need a miracle fight, and they just don't get any of it. The Shockwave ensures that they keep going, and then here, an attempted re-engage from Cuz. There just isn't enough frontline. Everyone on LNG is so far accelerated, and then Gala with the final auto to ensure that basically no one on KT left alive to defend against this Red Bull Baron power play.
And that's the advantage of the LNG team with all the extra damage threats on their side of it.
Yeah.
They don't have the tanks, but they don't need, okay.
Lahen's going for one, aiming there as well with the Severum. Tarzan trying to turn it around as Hung joins the fray, but a great Gale Force away from aiming might be enough. Tarzan heals himself back up. KT disengage, as do LNG. A good attempt there from KT to find a catch, but they just don't quite have the damage.
All right, everybody calm down.
Never.
Take a little bit of a break off that one with this Baron buff. Wait, Hung doesn't want to calm down. He wants a piece of that Ornn.
Hey, Keen learned. He didn't try to dash out at that one. Actually used his W.
Oh, fair enough.
That's nice.
It's going to be difficult for KT to actually defend here, though. LNG with the Baron buff just sitting right outside.
Call of the Forge God available for Keen if they want to look for the engage. Flashes on everyone apart from Zika for LNG. KT just trying to defend. If you can hold on to this, if you can wait out the Baron for 45 more seconds, you can hold on to the game. It feels like if your base is cracked, though, the game starts to slip away from your fingers, and Zika has that on his mind. He's pushing in mid. LNG distract KT once again with a push in the top lane, and now work their way as 5 towards mid.
They get there first. Zika goes for the stun tower dive.
The charm, the quickness, Tarzan going in as well with the corner of the Forge God. Scout able to flash away from it in time. BDD already down for the double kill, and now it's all on aiming, but purple and red are not the guns you want to see if you're a KT fan right now. Lehens look for the flank double. Recall coming out, but the TP immediately invested by LNG. By Scout to re-engage the fight. Could this just be it?
I think that's going to be it. I think LNG are going to make their way towards quarterfinals here.
Aiming against the white guns with the shutdown, the shockwave. Aiming with a moment to pop a stopwatch to think about what's happened. But LNG do not give him a moment to breathe. It has been breakneck as LNG have broken the backs of KT and make their way to the quarterfinals.
LNG, what a beast of a team. They avoid Gen.G, they avoid JDG in the next draw. Definitely deserved rewards for them as well.
And in the fight between BDD and Scout, again, it's Scout that comes out on top. To me, the most impressive part there was that it was very reminiscent of the way that KT won in game number 1, but even more decisive, right?
Yeah.
It was like 2 or 3 misplays, Keen walking too far up, and it all started with that contest on the Dragon, where LNG was able to punish KT, trying to, as you pointed, cut one corner. And that started a chain of events that has led LNG into the quarterfinals as a 3-1 team, meaning you get the benefit of dodging JDG and Gen.G, which is, it's not bad.
Pretty massive, especially for LNG when really it's JDG that beat them. Like,
Yes.
Of all the teams, they've only lost to JDG here at Worlds. They only lost to JDG in the LPL finals as well. For KT, a difficult road has got a little bit more difficult. This team probably has had the anti-luck of the draw when you look at it. They played against BLG, D plus Kia, Weibo, now LNG. Like, of any draw you're gonna get, that is a toughie. And now we'll see who they play in that 2-2 round on Sunday.
Yeah, just watch them draw T1 again. That would be the most KT thing possible.
T1 have to lose to BLG for that to happen.
I know, and I'm not saying that's gonna, but
that's
like,
a possibility.
I'm not gonna go into any attempts at predicting, but that would be that would be very unfair.
Almost it would be fitting with how crazy of a year it has been for